These closer boys are taking their first steps as men. They've just been circumcised in a traditional ceremony that has been taking place in South Africa for centuries. Deep in contemplation, not allowed to speak to outsiders, they use their recovery time to listen to their elders. Down the road, Athankosi is preparing for his turn under the knife.
Now I want to be involved. If I'm a man and I'm sitting with other men, we can talk everything and all. And family meetings, I do not get involved in family meetings. But if I'm a man, now they'll call me and ask for my advice.
Athankosi will be brought here to see this traditional operator who learnt his skills off his father. But not everyone's so lucky. Some round here have been posing as surgeons to make money off boys desperate to become men.
I think the people who don't have permission to do circumcision are a big problem. It's very dangerous for the boys, they don't know what they're doing.
And in just 2 months over the winter, 55 boys died after going to see these rogue surgeons. Dozens more have been left with mutilated genitalia. Mzinkewi's nephew was one of the boys who was killed.
The communities actually look at these people as people who are there as murderers, because they're going away with murder in a way.
The government and tribal leaders are in talks to address the problem. And new legislation hopes to target unlicensed operators.
There are mischievous individuals who do not care about the lives of the innocent ones. So these laws were actually implemented to ensure that we put a stop to that.
The road to becoming a man is certainly a painful one in the closer tribe. The boys here, though, have made the journey as smoothly as possible by finding a skilled surgeon with years of experience. It's hoped the new laws will ensure many more follow in their footsteps without having their lives cut short.
The Fulani tribespeople, known for their nomadic ways and for some of the world's more painful rites of passage. In a remote region of northern Benin, West Africa, Bapate prepares for his initiation ritual with the help of his older brother. Clans will gather from 50 miles around to see if he is braver than his opponent in a violent whipping match.
If I lose, I will be shamed, because everyone from all of the different clans will be watching.
Back at the village, the boys enlist their father's aid in choosing a branch that will inflict the most painful blow. Their father sharpens the stick so it will break the opponent's skin. Finally, it's time to head off to battle. Bapate is excited, in spite of the bloody test that awaits him. Meanwhile, a young Fulani woman is undergoing her own rite of passage into adulthood. Today, Maude will receive a full set of traditional facial tattoos and become a woman. Maude's tattoos will be done by a local artist, Gukure. He readies the needles he will use to make thousands of tiny pricks in Maude's face. The hours-long ritual will test the girl's bravery. If she cries or shows pain, then she will be shamed, and the tattooing may be delayed until she is older. Before inscribing the painful tattoo, Gukure paints elaborate designs. Each carries a special meaning for the Fulani. Eyes on her temples will allow Maude to keep watch on her husband at all times. Cow tracks symbolize prosperity.
The beginning is the most painful.
Blood begins to mix with the ink, but the artist continues. After more than 3 hours, the work is complete. According to Fulani tradition, Maude is now a beautiful woman ready to consider marriage. Maude has finished her initiation rite, but Bapate is about to face his own test. Bapate learns that his opponent will be a boy named Mati from a neighboring clan. First, Bapate will whip Mati 3 times and then he will have to endure the same. Whoever hits the other the hardest and flinches the least when hit himself will be declared the winner. The crowd will determine who is bravest. It is an impressive performance. Mati's clan celebrates his bravery by showering him with white talc powder and placing coins on his forehead as a congratulatory gesture. Now it is Bapati's turn to be beaten. The crowd roars. He barely flinched when struck by his opponent's weaker blows, and he's won the match. Though Bapati's skin is broken, his spirit is not.
It is burning me. It really hurts. But I am full of joy. I am very proud because I have won.
Bapati has endured a painful ordeal and become an adult member of the Fulani tribe.
Beneath White Mountain in New Mexico, the Mescalero Apache Reservation prepares for a coming-of-age ritual. Over the span of 4 days, 13-year-old Dashina Cochise will pass through ancient tests of strength, endurance, and character that will make her a woman. The Mescalero Apache hold the ritual every 4th of July. It's a grueling ordeal intended to prepare girls for the trials of womanhood.
When she was a little girl, I knew this is what I wanted to have for her.
Dashina's mother, Millette, has spent more than a year preparing for this week of ceremony. Family members and friends will help her feed and care for more than 50 guests. The family's most important task is selecting Dashina's medicine woman. Zelda Yaza will instruct Dashina in the ways of traditional Apache womanhood.
4 ways into the back, open.
The 4-day ceremony encapsulates the Apache creation story. Dashina will move through the stages of life: infant, child, adolescent, woman, culminating in an all-night dance that will test her endurance. The ritual begins with the rising of the morning star. The ceremony requires Dashina to live by strict rules. These 4 days mean little sleep, scant food, and the need to set aside emotion. Throughout the ordeal, she must wear a face of stoic resolve.
I feel very excited and happy, even though I can't smile, but I'll try to show it in some way.
Before Dashina joins the other girls, she is blessed, dusted with pollen, the symbol of fertility. The girls start their journey in a sacred teepee built by their male relatives.
It's cool right now, they're putting the teepee up.
The basket is filled with pollen and other ceremonial objects. As their ancestors did, the girls run toward the rising sun, circling the basket 4 times to mark the 4 stages of life. The 4th and final day brings Dashina to the cusp of womanhood. She ascends the hill to pray to the mountain spirits for a long and successful life. With darkness near, it's time to dance beside the ceremonial fire. Dashina and the other girls will dance all night long, much of the time hidden in the big teepee. More than 10 hours later, Dashina is still dancing. The medicine men greet the sun, a signal that the final test is near. The girls' faces are painted with white clay symbolizing the goddess. On their last circuit around the sacred basket, the girls wipe away the symbolic clay. With the falling of the teepee, their rite of passage is complete. Dashina receives her Apache woman's name, Morning Star Feather.
Morning Star Feather.
Morning Star Feather.
Yeah.
Everything went well. She's just going to be a strong woman.
Her community gathers, acknowledging that this girl has earned the right to live as a woman of the tribe. As an Apache woman, Dashina serves as a symbol of her culture, renewing and protecting a way of life that's in danger of vanishing.
For example, women wear hijab and a dress, but almost all women wear hijab. Hijab is a one-piece kimono. It is the most formal style of kimono worn by American women in Japan. There are many colors and many patterns. Hijab is one of the biggest for women. It is very important thing for me. So after that, we will start preparation for the ceremony. We have to make it the place where and wear the face at the beauty scene. Fortunately, all of us Japanese people wear the face by this time. So, after the beauty salons are very good. At the last, everything is ready to go to City Hall. At City Hall, there are many people, and there we can meet to get old friends. So the place is very lovely and cheerful. Some are enjoying it, some are enjoying taking pictures. Of course, at the City Hall, coming up a ceremony is held. There's a huge party.
There's a feeling in the air that something important is about to happen. A celebration is underway for the girls who will soon become women in the eyes of their people, the Kuria in southern Kenya. It's a rite of passage rooted in at least 2,000 years of tradition. Some call it circumcision, others female genital mutilation or FGM. Whatever the name, the reality is the same. Later that day, girls under the age of 16 will have their clitorises cut out. Every day, 6,000 girls, many of them in sub-Saharan Africa, will endure procedures like this one.
It's the beginning and the end of the very existence of women.
Zainab Bangura is an activist and a politician from Sierra Leone, where more than 90% of the women undergo FGM.
If you do not become a member of that ceremony, you can't have a husband. You can't even have somebody to marry you. It's completely out of the question. Because men don't marry women who have not gone through the ceremony.
16-year-old Rayal is about to undergo the ceremony. Her uncle says girls must be cut for a very simple reason.
Korea said that tradition is to tame women's sex drive, for them not to sleep around.
Even women who suffered the agony and lifelong consequences of FGM defend the practice. Rayal's mother, Bouquet.
I see people refusing circumcision and I'm surprised because I was circumcised. I find it surprising since it's our culture and tradition.
But the fact is, this tradition, common in more than 24 African countries, inflicts agony on nearly 2 million girls a year. It also dooms many to a lifetime of pain, infertility and deadly infections, especially for those who are forced to undergo an extreme form of FGM known as infibulation, in which the entire genitalia is removed and then sewn up.
Because I was the youngest and I was afraid, they grabbed me first. After that, they all held me down and cut me. It hurt so much and I screamed. I can still remember the lady who did it to me.
This simulation suggests the girls are often bound and blindfolded. The blades are not sterile, the girls get no anesthesia. A World Health Organization study shows that the trauma and reoccurring infections from genital mutilation often lead to infertility. What's worse, it increases up to 50% the likelihood that the woman or her baby will die in childbirth. The practice also leads to hemorrhage, shock, and makes a woman, and therefore her children, far more susceptible to HIV.
The highlands of Papua New Guinea, a place so remote that the people who live here are among the most isolated on Earth. One of the native tribes, the Matausa, practices an ageless ritual so secret that it has never before been witnessed by some members of the tribe, much less filmed. Tomorrow will be the day of Pune Felio's initiation. The stakes are high. A boy may not marry or take on the privileges of adulthood until he has completed the rite. Pune's father supports his son's decision.
Those who become too scared to participate eventually find out that they are less attractive to women, and they don't have the same energy as others in making gardens, building houses, or walking long distances. They live a miserable life as bachelors until the time of their death.
I am born here to be a man to protect my family, tribe, and my people. The most important thing is to go through the initiation to realize my role as a man in my community.
For thousands of years, that role was often brutal. Traditionally, Highland people lived in a near constant state of tribal warfare and could be expected to take part in raids, kidnappings, murders, and cannibalism at some point in their adult lives. Their painful initiation ritual was considered essential to transform timid boys into brave men. It is the morning of the Matausa initiation ceremony. Along a sacred creek, the elders prepare for the painful blood rite. Just downstream, novices wash and wait. It is their traditional belief that to become men, they must expel the contaminating influences of women.
When our mothers gave birth to us, some of their blood remains in us, which is considered unclean. When we do the ritual, it helps get rid of the rubbish that is stored in our system and purifies us. This is the whole purpose of the exercise.
The initiates are brought forward and see for the first time the ordeal they face. Elders shove several feet of pit-pit cane down the backs of their throats, then pull it out, so they retch again and again. Then it's the novice's turn. Pune empties his stomach into the stream. Next, to get rid of contaminants they may have breathed, the men ram sharp reeds deep into each other's nostrils. Blood and mucus pour freely. To complete their passage into manhood, Pune and the others must expose themselves to one more bloodletting. This time they will cleanse another part of the body that was exposed to female polluted food, their tongue. The razor-sharp arrow slices tender flesh again and again. Pune steels himself for his final challenge.
Pain is great from my inside to the outside.
Finally, the stream washes away the last of their blood, and their trials come to an end. They return to the campsite and their community as men.
In the remote Amazonian village of Inhubei, the moan of the horns means a grueling initiation is about to begin. Several times a year, the Sadere Mawe Indians hold a painful 11-hour ritual in which boys as young as 12 must stick their hands into a pair of specially made gloves, each one infested with a swarm of angry, stinging jungle carnivores, giant tropical bullet ants. No initiate can be considered a true Indian, a warrior, until he has worn the gloves not just once, but 20 times. This afternoon, Ted Beltrow will wear the ant gloves for the first time, with 19 more to come.
People say that I don't have the courage to do it. I have, and I will do it.
The men face the prospect of getting stung even before the ritual starts, when they head off to capture the ants. A stab from this predator's abdominal spear is 30 times worse than a bee sting. The tribe's medicine man drugs the ants by soaking them in an herbal solution. But their stupor will only last long enough for them to be thrust one by one, stinger first, into the gloves. According to the Sature Mare legend, these menaces provide the perfect test of one's worthiness to take on adult roles. In less than an hour, the ants are awake. Trapped in the woven mitt, they writhe in angry desperation. They're ready to be inserted into the ceremonial gloves. One by one, each young man steps up to the sacred pole and submits his hands to the swarm. Their agony is unmistakable. To help distract them, the medicine man leads them in a dance around the pole. To be seen as a true tribal warrior, each must endure the ants' punishment for more than 10 minutes. With each sting, the bullet ant's neurotoxic venom attacks the nerves, causing paralysis and terrible pain. And this is only the beginning. Once the gloves are off, the stinging and burning will only grow more excruciating. Now, after watching the others suffer, Ted's moment of truth has arrived. Unfazed, he keeps dancing, while all around him the others succumb to the poison. Slowly, the neurotoxic venom is turning their hands into swollen, simmering, paralyzed stumps. Finally, the gloves come off and Ted remains standing.
My body feels like a motor that's heating up. If you throw water here, a lot of smoke will come out.
It takes 24 hours for the toxins to dissipate completely. As the chief sees it, the ritual not only marks the initiate's entrance into adulthood, it makes them better men.
If you live your life without suffering anything, or without any kind of effort, it won't be worth anything to you.
Despite his long hours of agony, Ted has promised the chief he will wear the gloves 19 more times, until he becomes a true adult in the eyes of the tribe.